A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60. Often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations, it can actually lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified yet as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain, and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The information presented on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified expert regarding any decisions related to your specific situation. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the podcast creators. In a midlife crisis, the affair partner is not the cause of the crisis, but they often become a key psychological prop that allows the crisis to escalate and harden. At the core of midlife crisis is really overwhelming shame, anxiety over aging and mortality, and identity collapse. The affair partner offers sexual validation without accountability. They help the MLC'er avoid confronting internal emptiness. The affair partner becomes a mirror that temporarily erases the self-loathing that they are experiencing. Just know, midlife crisis is not about love, it's about escape from reality. The affair partner allows the MLC'er to live in a suspended, consequence-free little bubble. They provide dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin, confusion, and false bonding. The affair partner becomes a tool for emotional detachment. They help the MLC'er rewrite their marital history, and they validate the smear campaigns. When shame returns, someone must carry it, and the affair partner becomes a reminder of moral failure. Many midlife crisisers eventually resent the affair partner for seeing them at their worst, and this is why so many affair partner relationships implode within 12 to 24 months. While the MLC'er is with the affair partner, it postpones their healing. Instead of grieving, going through therapy, accountability, or identity reconstruction, the MLC'er actually stays anesthetized, often for years. But then, as they go through the tunnel, it's very common that an MLC'er will end up with multiple partners, and long-term stability is uncommon unless real treatment occurs. Actually, MLC'ers often have multiple girlfriends or boyfriends during the tunnel stage. Not always sequentially, but frequently overlapping or rapidly serial because they just can't be on their own. Different partners that they're with mirror different versions of themselves. And they continue with that avoidance of real attachment and true emotional intimacy because, with multiple partners, it just prevents them from having real depth and accountability. They say during MLC, relationships look less like dating and more like self-medication through people. And that is really one way to look at it, I guess. Self-medication through whoever they're with. Like in normal dating, people are selective. There's a capacity for empathy. But in MLC tunnel dating, there's rapid cycling. There's idealization and devaluation, poor empathy, and of course, rewriting of history. And stability of a relationship is unlikely if the relationship began during the tunnel, if the affair partner or new partner helped justify the discard, if the MLCer never addressed shame, grief, or accountability, and of course, if therapy was avoided or used defensively, then you're going to see relationships that often last just 12 to 36 months. And then the collapse happens when the novelty fades, life stress returns, uh, the affair partner expects a real partnership, and of course, the MLCer's shame resurfaces. And so today we're going to talk to Lexi, who was with her husband for 24 years. They were actually high school sweethearts. They'd been together since they were 16. And he you'll hear, had an affair partner for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and they recently split up, and now he's with, his a new person. He's got a girlfriend now, and, who had nothing to do with the breakup of the marriage. So she's innocent party, and, Lexi went into this wanting to, just she sees that her husband is uh, better. He's not as toxic and angry as he was when he was with the affair partner. So, she you'll hear about how she met the girlfriend and the changes that she sees in her husband, and she's trying to stay positive about this for the whole family. So she dealt with this really well, and you'll hear her story. The one thing she did mention, and this goes with, the whole in the tunnel with the serial girlfriends and things, she did happen to say, that she doesn't see them staying together long term. So I guess that's just par for the course. But, here we go. All right, so here we are today with Lexi, and, okay, Lexi, I wanna ask you, before we talk about meeting the girlfriend, herself, how are you feeling right now in your body? Like, how are you feeling now?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Like, I've definitely have gone through it in the past 2 years, but I'm in a really good spot mentally, physically, emotionally. So yeah, I'm good.
You feel like yourself again?
Oh, I'm more myself than I ever have felt, honestly.
Mm.
Like, now realizing how much that I had carried, um, to support the whole family, and now I really truly just get to be myself. It feels amazing.
Um, okay, so when you so for our listeners, this is not the affair partner that
Right.
you were meeting just recently. This is actually, um, you guys have been apart for how long? Like, where since he moved out, it's been 2 years?
Years. We've been apart for 2 years, and so he's
Okay.
with this new girlfriend for 6 months.
Okay, so first he was with an affair partner,
Mhm.
right,
Correct.
for about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that?
Yes. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then about 6 months ago, he started seeing somebody new.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first learned you were gonna meet her, like, how did you feel about that? And why were you gonna be meeting her?
So this is gonna sound crazy, I think to some people. I was excited to meet her, because obviously with the previous partner, I was not allowed to meet her because there was a lot of negative emotions there. And I had questions, and I don't think that they wanted me to be able to ask those questions. So when I was told that I was gonna get to meet the new girlfriend, the reason is because he was taking our kids on a trip, and he was bringing her with them, which I was like, "Thank you." Like, "Yes, please don't." And he was like, "Yeah, I want you to meet her." And I told him, I said, "So how would you feel if I had you meet someone for like 15 seconds high and by and be like, oh, but I'm gonna take them on a week-long trip with our kids." And he's like, "You're right." He's like, "Let me take everyone to dinner." So had my kids there. And that was really important for me to have my kids there so that they could see mommy's handling this okay. And I did. I was very excited to meet her. I did. A year ago, you would have never told me that this is how I would have felt. But I was excited to meet her. She was super nice. I got along with her really well. And afterwards, it was just such a load off of, like, it was like the chapter was closed and we could finally move on to the next chapter. And that was a huge emotional, like, release. It felt great, honestly. And yes, a year ago, if you told me I would be doing that, a week ago, I would have been like, "You were crazy." But, it's like, you have to think. There's 2 reasons to be angry about it. And one is you're still have a lot of resentment, or 2 is that you really still want that person back. And I've gone through a lot of my healing journey that I'm definitely not in either one of those places. Um, and I think that's what really helped me not helped me be excited, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Did like, you're sitting there at dinner, did a part of you ever think like, "Well, how come it's not me that's sitting there next to him?"
Actually, that's a good question. No, I didn't. And, I thought when I sat down, I was like, "Oh my god, are they gonna, hold hands and,
Right, be affectionate.
yeah." And they actually did, and but, in a tasteful way,
Mhm.
and it didn't bother me. It was shocking to me that it didn't bother me.
Wow.
I mean, this is someone I've been with for 24 years. The thought of someone even looking at him a year
Yeah.
ago made my soul crush, And, I just it shows you that the time and the space of, really focusing on yourself and your own mental health and your own journey and, separating yourself from the relationship, um, it can be very monumentally helpful, you know?
Mhm. Did it almost feel surreal to be sitting there that night?
Oh,
Really?
it did. I almost felt like his sibling, like like his mom, meeting
Yeah.
a friend for the first time. And I joked too because, uh, I was sitting across from them, and, they were both across from me, and I didn't joke to them. I joked to, a family member later, but I was like, I wanted to be, calm about it, and I was like, I didn't wanna be, cross to both of them, like, "So, what are your intentions with my family?" You know? And then I'm meeting the girlfriend for the first time. Um, but yeah, it was very surreal to be in that moment and to be okay with being in that moment. That
Yeah.
felt like I said, multiple times now, it felt amazing.
Yeah.
Like a
And the kids?
the kids,
Were they sitting there waiting for, a
they were
thunderstorm?
so the good news is there's a pool table where we went, so they were playing pool. But they were very sweet. They would come over and they would always come and, put their arm around me, like,
Gosh.
"Mommy," or they don't say mommy, they're too old to say mommy, but, "Hey, mama, are you okay?" "How are you?"
So
They
they were very supportive and,
and they were
like,
yeah, they were checking in on me, but their kids are so good at reading your energy, and, you could tell as soon as, they saw that my energy was calm, they was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go off and play pool," and,
yeah.
you know, they, didn't feel the need to hover. At the beginning, they were hovering a little bit because they're like, "I need to make sure my mom's okay with everything that's going on. Because obviously, the last relationship, they
The
saw
affair part.
yeah, how devastating that was for me.
Mhm.
So they were very, "I need to make sure my mom's okay," which was very sweet.
Aw. That's interesting too, what happened with the affair partner? How did that fizzle? Because I assume if he's got a girlfriend, he's not with the affair partner.
Yes. So, I mean, typical. I mean, you think about a woman that's gonna, try to have a relationship with a married man, it's almost like a predator in my eyes, someone who's not very healed themselves.
Mhm.
So, I think I don't know a lot of details. I just know a little bit of what I've been told from my kids, and things like that that have came through. But it sounds like that the relationship continued to stay toxic. I did go by his house to pick up our kids, and there was a book on the counter. I think I told you this, and the title of it was "I love you, but I just don't trust you." And it was from her, and she had highlighted it and bookmarked a bunch of places and wrote notes in it. And I'm like, well, of course you guys don't. You started on a lie. Yes, of course your whole relationship is based off of mistrust.
Mhm.
So I think it got very dramatic, and I know that there was talks that she was refusing to meet me, refusing to meet his family, and, how do you maintain a relationship with that? And so, um, They had broken up earlier in the year, and we actually did him and I just recently speak about her. Um, and he was like, "Yeah, she's a very toxic individual." Like, he's blocked her. She's still finding ways to try to communicate with him, and it's been over 6 months, long.
And he didn't see that in the beginning.
No, well, and he did not. I think he was very it and as we know, like, when someone's the midlife crisis brings not a very strong side of people because you're just lost, and
Mhm.
I think that made him very it's like a kid, like, it makes them easy to mold, to groom, to and be impressionable, and when
Yeah.
I
So
found
he was dependent on her in the beginning.
very, extremely dependent on her, very protective of her, which was just, like, overprotecting his own, even me my heart and soul, which was crazy because 'cause I'm like, "We've been together this long, and you, like, would never hurt me, and now you're, like, purposely hurting me in the worst way possible," it felt like at the time. And I will tell you, like, she molded him, like, when I found out about her, he let me know, like, she talked him through how to get a divorce. She talked him through what it would look like. Um, he changed a lot of himself to fit her mold. He changed the way he eat. He changed the way he dressed. He changed the way he acted. He changed the way he talked. He changed the things he cared about. And it was like, even my kids were like, who is this person? So, and now with the new girlfriend, like, I'm seeing signs of the real him coming back. And so that's
Mm.
also something that's relieving and comforting. Of maybe one of the reasons I was excited to meet her. I'm like, who is this woman that's bringing the real person, the real him back?
Wow. Okay.
And
Huh.
I mean, he's still not the same person that I married, and I don't think he ever I think that person has definitely died, metaphorically,
Mhm.
but I still like seeing his core soul come back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you had mentioned, before we even recorded something about, that you wouldn't really be attracted to him now if you were to meet him at a somewhere.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I still think he's adorable. I think he's very handsome, uh,
Mhm.
but the parts of his personality that have become like, when we were separated, we went on a date. Like, I didn't realize it was a date at the time, but he thought it was a date. Either way, he was like, "Well, that was a date." Well, it was all what he wanted to do, and I thought about it when I got home. I go, "If that was like this was an actual first date, I would not give him a second one
Wow.
because this is what you wanted us to do that was, like, so nothing, like, that seemed like a date," like,
Right.
it was to go watch a football game, which I like football, but, like, that's literally you're watching a screen with a bunch of people who like the same team, and you're not talking to each other, you're not eating, you're not had dinner or anything like that, you're just watching a game, and I was like, if I told, actually his sister afterwards, I was like, "If that was our first date, I would not have gone on the second one." She goes, "I bet you wouldn't have," like, she goes, "I wouldn't go on a second one, and it's my brother," so,
Wow.
and it's just it shows just the difference of through the, like, where who he is today, and so, yeah,
Mhm.
I
A
would
little I'm sensing, is it that he's a little more selfish, like, or self-centered?
yeah, yeah, so
And so the trip he's on right now with the girlfriend and the kids,
mhm.
um, is that a place that, that sorry, that he wanted to go? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that is a place where he wanted to go, yeah, so, it's somewhere that he put yeah.
is it a place you ever wanted to go?
It's a place that it's similar to the last place that we had a family trip on. It's not the same,
Okay. Uh-huh.
which I think he registered that and picked something that was similar but not the same. Because when I first heard, the original plan was to go where our last family trip was, and I was like, "Really? Can you pick your own trips? Like, stop using the trips I created." Like, I'm joking, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm like, "Let's not take them to the last place we were as a family." And I don't
Mhm.
know if he did that subconsciously or consciously or if it just happened by chance, but the trip is similar but not the same. So I'm like, "Okay, now I'm a little more comfortable," because I do still get territorial about that stuff, like, "That was our family trip,"
Mhm.
like let's change it just a little bit, please." And he did. So, that
Aw.
was good.
And that is a really common thing with, when they have a new relationship, going back to the same places. It's almost like they're trying to have somebody fill a spot,
Yeah,
like you were a Lego piece, and now there's another Lego piece. We're gonna put that back in place. But you know
exactly.
what? The building's never gonna fit together like it did before. Oh, what did was there anything that you did to, maintain your dignity when you met her? Like, did you pre-think what you were gonna say or do or, you know?
I did. Had to have a very good self-talk with myself of listen more,
Mhm.
um, talk less, because it that is one of the things that can get uncomfortable is, like, you don't because you do have this very long relationship and history with this person, your ex, and so you don't wanna be like, "Oh, by the way, at school, this is happening next week, and did you remember?" Like, you don't wanna bring up, like, that you're still so tied and also talk about because all you have to talk about together is your past together.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's, like, making sure not focusing there, which, when you're nervous, you can start blabbing at the mouth and you can start just talking about the past. So made a point before I got there to be very conscious of learning about her and finding out more about her versus if she wants to hear a story about our past, she can ask him. So and really, like, just letting her see me as a person and that I'm not this big, mean, scary ex-wife. Um, we were talking about him telling me about them going on vacation, and I was asking him, I was like, "When did you tell me? What conversation was that again?" And he calls her and asks her, and she's like, "Yeah, and you told me," she was telling him, she's like, "You told me she was being weirdly nice." And I was like, "Oh my god, like, we can't start this if she thinks, like, being nice is weird." So, like,
Weirdly nice.
I'm really nice, not weirdly nice, just normal nice, you know? So that was also, like it was a joke in my head, but still top of mind of, like, show her that you're not weirdly nice, like, that you're not
Yeah.
really a mean person. Uh
Well, you know what? Okay, Lexi, I'll tell you there, because he just came out of a year and a half with the AP,
Mhm.
who is, like, probably bashing you in every which way
Oh.
and creating you as, like, some dragon, spouting fumes or something because that's what they do, you
Mhm.
know? So, he just and he's still in that mental fog and in a tunnel, and he's been for the last year and a half, had been told how horrible you are,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, and I mean, I could always tell, like, when he was talking to the previous woman or when they were, like, having moments where they weren't speaking, because if they weren't speaking, it was like, "Oh my god, we're having a normal relationship and, like, we're co-parenting well." And then all of a sudden, a week later, it's, like, very defensive and very, can't look me in the eye and, like, I'm the bad guy and I was like, "Oh, damn it, she's back." Like, but I could literally see the shift in his behavior.
Absolutely.
You know
Yep.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
yeah,
Well, I'm so glad that he can see that you're weirdly nice, all the time.
all the time, yes. So, yeah,
Uh,
those are the things I thought about, though, before meeting her, was, like, making sure that it was weird that I was being more protective of making sure she was okay, I think, which is weird. I know that's not normally what people would do, but that makes me feel better, I guess. If I know that the person across from me is feeling okay, then that makes me feel better. If I feel like they're awkward, then I get super awkward, and
yeah.
so
Well, he must have been really nervous to meet you. I mean, you're gorgeous, smart, pretty. You've got that past history, amazing mom,
yeah,
amazing wife. She was probably pretty intimidated, I
yeah.
would guess.
I mean, I would be if I was in that
Mhm.
situation,
Yeah.
that's for sure, especially being the first girlfriend. You know,
Yeah.
that's meeting the ex-wife, I would definitely feel intimidated in that scenario. Yeah, I would, very much so,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it sounds like meeting her was really healing in
Yes,
a way.
very healing. Like I said, it felt when I left, it was like a breath of fresh air, and it's like, "Okay, this chapter is officially closed," and
Mhm.
the new chapter has begun, and this is how we've started the new chapter. Um, and I hope y I think it's a good way to start it because at the end of the day, crisis or not, this is the, parent of my children, and
Mhm.
it will always be a part of my life, and we do need to get along, and we're very close to our families are close and everything, so we will be together for the rest of our lives, whether we like it or not, so even through the trauma and the damage and, like, the pain that, you know, I went through going through the crisis with him, uh,
Mhm.
I have to figure out how to heal and put that to rest, and I think I've done a really good job, and, and still work on it from time to time, but because we do have to be together forever, whether we like it or not. So why make it miserable for everyone, family, friends, kids, and be just about,
Yeah.
healed from it. So
And what a great role model for
yeah,
you to be for your
yeah.
you know?
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, is there anything you'd want other betrayed spouses to know if they're facing a similar situation?
Oh yeah, there's 1,000 things I want you to know. The biggest thing is that it gets better. It really does. And it, that is something like that I struggled with a lot in the first year. I mean, I say this like jokingly, but I always tell people like, as you can tell, I joke a lot. That's my deflection. It- but that I emotionally died. And I really do feel like I emotionally died during this whole transition. This was somebody that I was very much in love with, was the love of my life, my whole adult life, but whenever I started to like step back from it and look at this of like, wait, you get now the second part of your adult life and you can do whatever you want to do and starting embracing it from like more of a freedom view. And I remember that the first last this past year when the anniversary of the day he asked for a separation happened, the first thing I thought that morning was not, "Oh, this is the day my ex left me." First thing I thought that morning was, "This is the day my ex freed me." And just really realizing go through those emotions as painful as they are, but know at the other end, it's really you've been freed in some level to
Mhm.
start again. And there's more people out there that need your love, you know? Now I just look at it and I say thank you to you know, the affair partner, even though she seems like she's probably a pretty toxic person, I still say thank you because I would not have realized, you know, the situation I was in a one-sided marriage without her. So,
Wow.
and
Yeah, I think, in divorce recovery, I think there's a saying they say that it didn't happen to you, it happened for you.
yes, and I
When
think
you're in the thick of it, when it's first happening to you, you certainly don't feel like, "Oh, it's happening for me, I'm so excited." But,
exactly. But saying is very true, and I mean, I do know, like, watching the midlife crisis happen with it adds an extra layer to it because you are watching someone that you love very much
oh,
with different
totally fall apart.
yeah, in front of you.
Yeah.
But I think that that's also a blessing in a way. God, that's so crazy I'm saying that 2 years later because it helps you become stronger at realizing, you know, these types of I'm trying to think of, like, behaviors or ticks in a person of, like, it helps you help other people, like,
Mhm.
and is that making sense? You know?
No, it totally makes sense, and I know you wanna, have your voice out there now to help others.
Yeah. No, 'cause I mean, we're not alone in this, and like you and I've talked about, I've after me telling my story to people and that's the other thing, talk to people about it. I'm very vocal, probably too vocal. I'm sure my ex can't stand it because he knows that about me. But I believe sharing is caring, even if it's painful sharing, and being vulnerable with people and letting them know your story. Because the amount of people I've talked to about my story and let them know that have come out and be like, oh, my dad did that, or my brother did that, or getting a call, like, a week later and being like, "Oh my gosh, I think my friend's going through the same thing, like, what did you do in this?" And, like, I've had so many people come to me and talk to me about them seeing it from a family member or a friend position or even their own position thinking it's about to happen, and I like I enjoy being able to help people so that they're not feeling like they're the crazy one. Like, you and I've
Yeah.
talked about, like, it's happening to you and you're like, "Am I crazy? Like, what just happened? Am I a horrible person?" Like, you're not. It has nothing to do with you. And
Well, I remember thinking, I felt bad for my husband. I was like, "Oh my god, he is just spiraling,"
yeah,
you know? Um, it just, it's heartbreaking to see somebody.
yeah,
It's like watching a slow train wreck, and you wanna stop it, but you can't, you know?
yeah,
And, yeah,
exactly,
just
and so that's the biggest thing is if you're comfortable with it, talk about it with people because you will find out you're not alone in this and you can actually help other people that have they can help you too, that they've experienced,
right.
they've seen it. It's just that's my biggest takeaway, I think, to tell people.
And to not be afraid to meet the first girlfriend
No.
through the AP.
Yes. Yes, I mean, I think if I had met the AP, it would not have been as pleasant of a story. I know that
Yeah.
for sure. But know that that will also I mean, my biggest thing I teach my kids, re relationships that start with cheating and end cheating. So,
Mhm.
know that that AP is not most likely. I know that there are scenarios that that does happen where it stays, but most likely it's not going to. So, don't lose
Yeah.
too much sleep over it. As hard as it is,
Mhm.
don't lose a lot of sleep over it.
Yeah.
So,
And even there's the ones that stay with the affair partner, that are just too ashamed to leave and let that fizzle out. Um, they just they live with infidelity. They choose to live, which is a really sad way to be
yeah.
with somebody, you know?
And that's the other thing, like, it's a big thing that I had to remind myself throughout it too, is like, because at the beginning of it, because again, you're seeing this person turn into a completely different person in front of you. So it's like, "Okay, we can fix this. Let's work through this." I had to finally tell myself at the end, like, after going through it, and I always could tell I was, like, going against the grain, like I was going in a way I shouldn't be. Um if that makes sense when I was fighting for it, but then because I finally stepped away, it was like, "Why am I fighting so hard for somebody who's not fighting for me?" And that was, like, a huge awakening for me of, like, at the end of all of this, as sad as it is, my life has been I'm watching this person destroy fall apart in front of me.
Yeah.
I have to choose me, and I think that was one of the big pivotal moments for me is when I started choosing myself.
That's awesome.
I wanted so bad to fix him and change him and shake him and be like, "Who are you? Come back, come back." And, like, I got lost in that, and as
Mhm.
soon as I realized I need to pick me, it it was a life-changing moment for me, for sure, and it sucks.
Well, for your kids
Huh?
and for your kids,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know,
and that's why
'cause
because they're going down with you, like, they're
Mhm.
of all of our emotions. They need someone stable, and
Yep.
that's a huge point of it too, but it's just like, as much as you wanna shake them out of it, you've gotta let them go through it, and some people come out of it on the other side and go, "Oh, I made a mistake," and wanna come back, and that's great, and some people don't. The damage and it's not even maybe that they don't, it's just that the damage is irreparable, like,
Mhm.
no fixing it at this point. So
Yeah.
and there's no
Or it might be longer.
Mhm.
Because you never know.
Yeah,
None of us ever thought this chapter would happen, and so, life is like a book, and we don't know what the next chapter is. And
exactly, so
well,
and that
Lexi, this is our New Year's episode. Um, I'd love for you to share any, tips you have for the new year.
wow.
Um, so as we enter a new year, 2026, Lexi's gonna, give us some things that have really helped her, make that transition.
So what I like to do, and I've been doing this past couple years, is right before the new year, like I was explaining to Trina earlier, I put all my Christmas decorations away. I don't take anything into the new year that's from the previous year. That includes Christmas. I know a lot of people like to keep your trees up till after New Year, so I'm not knocking anyone who does that. Like, I love that for people, but this is just what I do. But I also will go through and I will purge in my house anything that no longer serves me. I love Marie Kondo, the whole "Does it bring you joy?" Um, and that has really helped me in the past couple years because you'll find things that you're still holding on to that was a part of your previous relationship that you look at and you're like, "Ugh," it kinda gives you like a stab, or it's something you've been avoiding because it reminds you of like, "Oh, well, we have to do this together to close this," or whatever. Like, if it's a bank account or, property that you own together, like, that's actually something I'm working on this week is one of the final things of our divorce decree that we need to finish. Like, I'm getting that done because 'cause I'm not taking that in to 2026 with me. So, that's really just visioning what the cleanliness that you want to take with you, and that's the pain, anything, like, that's my advice going into the new year, and focus on yourself. Really, at the end of the day, like, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, like, take the time, especially when you have young kids. I know it's hard, and you're emotionally, all over the place. Once you put them to bed or before that, like, what I started doing when we were going through the separation, because I couldn't put them to bed and then do it because I'm exhausted at the end of the day, I started waking up at 4:30 in the morning or 5 AM, and I'd spend that first hour of the morning, I'd go to the gym, I'd work out, I'd meditate, whatever. Just focus. I'd cry, I would lose my mind and cry my eyes out and bawl in the shower, scream into a pillow, go on a run, something, but I got it out of my system at the beginning of the day, and then I wake up the kids and be like, "Okay, let's go to school. Mom's not dying inside." Like,
Aw.
so that's what I would suggest.
I I love that. I love that idea of purging and, like, does it bring you joy? And if not, it's going in the dump, you know?
Never get
That's so important. And, I read somewhere recently, and it's so true, we come into this world by ourself, like, just, all alone, and we go out of this world alone, and everything else happens during that time. And, I know with marriage, a lot of times you unite yourself with that other person, but yeah, it's okay to unravel and, go forward on your new journey, like you have
yeah.
done so well, and, it's so encouraging.
This is an emotional experience you were gonna have to overcome at some point one way or the other. So, yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are gonna end on that on New Year's Day with, if it doesn't bring you joy, it's going out.
Yes.
So, all right.
I love
Thank you,
that.
Lexi. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thanks. As we close, we want to be very clear about something. What you heard today isn't about competition, comparison, or replacement. It's about what happens when someone avoids themselves by running into another person. In midlife crisis, new relationships often look loud, fast, and convincing. But stability doesn't come from novelty. It comes from integration, accountability, and the willingness to sit with discomfort. Without that work, patterns repeat, no matter who's standing next to them. So, to the betrayed partners listening today, if your body reacted, if you felt shaken, if meeting a new partner destabilized you, that is not weakness. That is a nervous system responding to injury. Your response makes sense. It's okay. Healing doesn't require understanding their choices, it requires honoring your own reality, protecting your boundaries, and rebuilding safety inside yourself. Please know you are not replaced. You are impacted, and there's a total difference. Thank you for being here, for listening with courage, and for being part of this community. And as we step into this new year, I want to say this clearly, you guys. You don't need answers, explanations, or closure from the person who hurt you just so you can move forward. Healing doesn't begin with understanding them because there is no understanding them. It begins with choosing steadiness for yourself, just like Lexi did, and she continues to do. If you're still grieving today, you didn't fail last year. You survived it. You survived 2025, 2024, 2023, and all the years prior from bomb drop to now. And survival is not weakness, it's the foundation. Let this year, 2026, let this year be a year of nervous system repair, of boundaries without guilt, and of choosing peace over proving anything to anyone. You were not replaced, you were impacted, and you are allowed to heal at your own pace. So take a breath, ground yourself, and know that you are not alone. We will be here with you every single day throughout 2026. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the next episode. Hey, some resources that are available for you guys are thewifeexpert.com. That's Lori McDermott over there at thewifeexpert.com. She also has a new app out. There's tons of videos that can give you all kinds of information on no matter where you are on your MLC journey or trying to reconcile with your spouse. So check out thewifeexpert.com. And if you're not sure if your spouse or yourself is in maybe approaching or in a midlife crisis, be sure to check out Kenda Root's quiz at midlifecrisismarriageadvocate.com. Again, that's a midlifecrisismarriageadvocate.com. That's a quick little 2-minute quiz. It's free. So check that out as well. We have a ton of resources out there for you guys. So check them out. Thanks. You guys, forward moving spouses, you are not alone. Left behind spouses, you are not alone. Those in crisis, you are certainly not alone. This is just crazy how epidemic this has become. I have a waiting list now of people from around the world that I'm trying to get to. And if you've been through a midlife crisis or been impacted by someone else's and you want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Hang in there, you guys. I will get to all of you. Please reach out to me at mlcbombdrop@gmail.com and visit us on Facebook and Instagram, MLC Bombdrop. And just remember, your voice matters. Your story could be the one that helps someone else feel seen. It could help someone else feel heard. And you know, it will help somebody else feel understood. You are not alone, no matter where you are in your journey. If the bomb was just dropped, the earthquake just happened, if you are 7 or 8 years in and you're coming out of starting to wake up and awaken to this, you are not alone. It's sad that this is epidemic, but we're here to provide support. So until next time, take care and live authentically each and every day. Thanks again, you guys.